Turn now to one community in Ohio, which is now the center of a growing national debate about civil rights, hate speech, and the Second Amendment. NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford visited the town of Lincoln Heights, where residents have formed an armed community defense group in the wake of a neo-Nazi rally. Morgan joins us now. You were there just on Tuesday. What did the residents tell you about what's going on?
Yeah, I was there just this week. John, it was fascinating because what's interesting is that this town was founded during the Great Migration back in the 1920s as a refuge for black citizens, which is why it was especially painful when neo-Nazis suddenly appeared in this 3,000-person majority black town. But they decided to fight back, taking up arms and patrolling their own streets. Now they're at the center of a much larger debate about protection and free speech and who gets it.
These aren't police officers or soldiers.
We're business owners, we're fathers, we're sons, daughters.
These are civilians, members of the Lincoln Heights Safety and Watch program.
It's a duty. Okay, let's go.
The duty.
The citizens of a majority black, predominantly black community have to take up arms and walk their kids to school and patrol their city because a bunch of neo-Nazis show up in black costumes and their face covered and decide to have a rally. What are they, recruiting people in the black community? Of course not. That is pure intimidation, pure messing with people you shouldn't be messing with. And the police show up and pretty much look like they're just standing out there protecting the neo-Nazis, as opposed to breaking that up and telling them to take that out of here or arresting them. For anyone to be a part of a hate group in the United States should be illegal. We shouldn't have to wait until they commit a crime. If you're any race and you belong to a hate group and that's what you do, and you've done that, that's why you exist, yeah, there needs to be something done about that. We're way too relaxed when it comes to these hate groups. That's the only way you can. That's no different than a terrorist organization. A bunch of neo-Nazis come to your town, and all your police department, the police department that is constantly beating you over the head and locking you up and arresting you, and people who they've never encountered before in life show up and have a successful rally with them defending them while you scream, hey, get them out of here. We feel threatened. Why are they here? That's really strange in 2025. It just should rub all black people wrong.
Protecting their neighborhood, the majority black village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas, and hurling racial slurs, just moments before children were let out of school. At the time, law enforcement officials said the neo-Nazis did not break any laws, but an investigation by county prosecutors is ongoing.
Now, they allowed them to have their rally without interruption, and the district attorney is doing some kind of a investigation now that their rally's over. They've come and gone. Did they arrest anyone? Did they detain anyone? Did they get anybody's information? How can an investigation be going on when you're dealing with a group that isn't like a registered nonprofit? This is a hate group. So how do you contact them? Say you do see some crimes that were committed. Were your police officers out there getting information off of these people to find out who they are, just in case? Like they do us. We've had IDs taken from black people with no crime committed, with no and information taken down for future. We might need to get back with you. Is that what was going on here? It didn't look like that. It looked like no crime was committed. This investigation and this incident should be a federal crime. It should be picked up on the federal level, because if a van full of black guys descended on a town of white folks, maybe a 4,000 or 5,000 people town of white folks in America, with guns and black suits on and hate literature in their hands, passing it out and barking at people, and the police from that community show up, I refuse to believe that the police would cordon off an area around them and tell the people of that city they have the right to be here, and even though they hate you and that's what they're preaching, you can't do anything about it. And I just don't think it would have went the same way. That's why we have a black congressional caucus, because they're supposed to be dealing with this kind of stuff. This is a big enough issue for Jasmine Crockett, whether it's her district or not, to fly in and use that Democratic voice that she's been using to bring all the black people back to the Democratic Party more than we already are. We're already there. We never left. But this is the stuff that could benefit us. This is the kind of stuff that our Congress people have to genuinely let them know that they ain't tolerating, and it pisses them off. And no one in the Democratic Party needs to tell them to go down to Ohio and get involved. They're on their way already. No way they shouldn't be cell phoning each other and meeting up, showing up in sweatsuits and hoodies. And like, this is what I was wearing and I just had to get down here. There's absolutely no way in 2025 we're going for this shit no more. We just cannot. But when we do, and they see that we do, because we prioritize their problems above our own, that's why they continue to happen. That's why the police department responded the way it did. They didn't see a threat to the white guys who came to that town. That's why nothing happened. Had those black guys been ready and met them with arms, something would have happened. Somebody would have had broken a law at that point. But as long as nobody got hurt, these guys were allowed to come in just to let us know they exist, just to let us know they organize in that fashion and intimidate a community of black people. And it's legal. That should not be legal.
Weeks later, the KKK came with these flyers.
First African-American community above the Mason-Dixon line of staff.
Safety and Watch Group spokesperson Durrance Daniels says the police did not do enough, which was more chilling because the town was founded in the 1920s as a safe haven for black residents.
Lincoln Heights is our home. If somebody broke into your home, you call the police, and the police says, if they do it again, we haven't broken any law, so we're just going to allow them to break into your home again. What would you do?
Are you worried at all that having a potentially armed response could just create more friction, create more danger?
Yeah, just let them come in your community with guns and just don't respond in kind. Everybody has got to know that don't work. And that's why these people picked up arms. There's absolutely no way you're going to go out there and talk these people down with hey, we don't have any weapons, but can you put yours away and get out of our city, please? We feel threatened. Shit. That's why we getting done like we getting done, because this is the kind of stuff that need to be pushed to the front. Jasmine Crockett she has everybody's ear right now. And the reason I'm using her as an example, because she is speaking to black people. And a lot of white people are listening to her. They want to see what kind of support she's going to garner from blacks. Are they going to all come around her and circle the wagons, and she's going to be like our little mini spokesman that we select and not the Democratic Party? I doubt it, because she's working for them. So that ain't going to work out too good for us. But as long as none of our politicians, the long ponytail dude who got kicked out, Al Green, Maxine Waters, all of them, up to the Senate, Cory Booker, Hakeem Jeffrey, all of them, they all need to be called out for this. They all need to get involved and speak on it. Hold a press conference and speak on it, because it can and will connect with what they're fighting against, this Donald Trump wave that's happening. This will be a way to let them know, no, you in office, but the black cities ain't about to be overrun, bullied, intimidated, terrorized. You have to stop that shit like right now and not wait until they come in and start actually discharging the firearms or actually harming the people in the community physically. Is that what we're going to wait for before then? A law has been broken, and then one white person goes to jail, but the movement continues. No, the movement needs to be ended, and they need to quit playing games with us. We know what a movement is. We know what hate is. We know what terrorism looks like. And so do our police departments. They just are tolerating it coming from that side because they're more worried about the terrorists being injured than the people they've come in to terrorize. That's very unfortunate for us. It puts us in a bad place, but it gives us an opportunity to really circle the wagons around ourselves and begin to fight and begin to not listen to other people when they tell you to stop fighting for yourself.
I'll answer that by saying I've never felt safer as a black man in my community than I have right now.
The mayor of Evendale, which oversees the police force that responded that day, said in a statement to NBC News, "Our emphasis on de-escalation and public safety resulted in the incident's resolution without injuries to any of the persons involved." But residents here say they can't afford to wait. Every day, the Safety and Watch group escorts children to school and patrols the streets.
Why do you all wear masks?
Those Nazis, we have reports of them finding our backgrounds, so we're not hiding ourselves from the residents, but we're protecting our family from what we're doing out here.
I don't know if you guys saw earlier when they were filming the Nazis coming in the vans, they had on masks too. So whatever reason they had their mask on, and they don't seem like they were there for positive or good intentions. And then she's quick to ask, well, why are you wearing masks? Why wouldn't you have your face exposed? Well, they ain't got their face exposed. And it really should be something you just can't do in America. Just for no reason, descend on a town and because you have a personal belief or a organization that has an agenda, and you just want to go in and inflict it on these folks who didn't invite it. Absolutely not. And then your police department in the community that's supposed to be being served by these cops. Let's reiterate that. They are supposed to be the recipients of the protection. And the police came out and their back was to the neo-Nazis and their face was to the community. Who are you protecting? They should have been turned around the other way, protecting the citizens and facing the Nazi. That's some backward shit, and it's not right. It's just so not right. And our politicians are caught up not fighting, not doing the right thing so that we can change the physical makeup of these police departments and get black people policing black people. That's the only way it's ever going to be right, because then if you get hit with a stick or shot or choked out, it won't be because that person's a racist. It'll be because that person's a bad cop, because that person might not like you. But to be killed just because of your race is just intolerable.
While many locals do support the security group, some, like business owner Eric Ruffin, say they wish the group wasn't needed.
We don't want to become what we hate. We don't want to become a group of people that walk around feeling like we have a reason in America to have to protect ourselves.
But we do. And we know we do. And for the most part, most black people in America who don't heavily protect themselves is because they're afraid of what it could invite and what it looks like. And you can't drive around in a car armed for 25 years or be known for the guy who always got a heat or strap on him. You can't be known as that guy as a black person. There's white gentlemen in this country who don't go nowhere without a gun on them. Nowhere at all. And if it's a place that don't accept guns, they don't go. Armed to the teeth everywhere they go. But if we were that way, there'd be even more black men in jail because they're constantly searching us illegally. They're constantly suspicious of us. They're constantly patting us down. But these guys just show up out of nowhere. Did they contact the city first and get a permit? I mean, that would have been the first thing I would have done, is first not granted the permit, which means it would have been an illegal assembly. But when they showed up without a permit, if they didn't apply, which I doubt they did, I would have said, oh, you didn't apply for a permit to assemble like this, so you got to go. I was a member of a union, and before we could demonstrate in front of a business or an organization, We had to contact the city that organization was in and let the police department know as a courtesy what we will be doing and why we were going to be there. And then we had to get a permit, which allowed us to do it. And for how long we were going to be there. You don't just get to go picket in front of people's buildings or demonstrate in front of people's without the permission or the understanding from the city. That's why this story is missing some details. And that city needs to be looked at. That's what politicians are for. If that's a black town, they better have some black politicians. Who in the hell is representing those people? Who is their senator? Who is their congressman? And why ain't they on TV?
And this community
Stand up.
Stand up.
is not backing down.
We contacted the mayor of Evendale's office, and they say that prosecutors are looking at body camera footage of the neo-Nazi rally to see if any criminal charges could be filed. But meantime, the Hamilton County Sheriff is also calling on state lawmakers to pass legislation making it a crime to wear a mask with the purpose of intimidation while open carrying, guys.
So, Morgan, let me ask you, one of the people you interviewed there, a young man, said he's never felt safer in his community than he does now. So this could have an impact nationwide, things like this. I mean,
yeah, see, he's sounding a little concerned. Like, wait a minute now. That black guy said he's never felt more safe with the weapon, walking around, patrolling his area. Now he feels safe because that means that black man is telling you he feels safer with his neighbors and local business owners patrolling their own streets than what the police were doing for them. And how could you feel safe when the police show up and protect the people you called them on? It's never going to be right until our politicians fight. And if they ain't going to fight for us, then we need to quit supporting them. We need to quit slapping high fives for Jasmine Crockett because she's doing nothing but being the Pied Piper for black people to get us back over there and not let us waver, or anything that Trump may do that might work out for us or might look good. They have to say no. $5,000 refund checks. No, we don't want that. Immigrants deported. No, we don't want that. Women, normal biological, born as women, female gender women, fighting with transgender men in the boxing matches and wrestling matches and in basketball and competing on that level. Democrats want us to believe that's what we want. If they're going to gaslight us in that way, then we have to, as black people, understand they will gaslight us on any level. And this is another example that should be a national story that every black politician within cell phone's reach should be calling that town, letting them know we on our way, you know what I mean, and see how they deal with the legal side of a demonstration when it's proper and appropriate and planned and for the purpose of the good of the people of that community, and not to come in there and scare them.
there is a contagion factor in safety. People always seek it. What did the mayor or anybody that you spoke to think about the contagion factor?
They are worried about the contagion factor of black people in other parts of the United States picking up arms and protecting their community. But they're not worried about the contagion factor of white guys getting in vans and just converging on towns with no permit and no permission and terrorizing black people. He's worried about the contagion factor of how black people might respond to white people coming into their town and intimidating and threatening them.
Durance, I don't want to speak for him, but after my conversation with him, I feel like I could confidently say he would say the contagion factor has already happened. Because when I asked, is this a reaction to a local moment or a national movement? And he said, look at January 6th. He said, you already have people felt emboldened to come here locally because of what they saw nationally. If you can hang from the building of the hallowed halls of the Capitol and then be pardoned, not be prosecuted, why don't you think you can come to a small village of African Americans, only 3,000 people?
Morgan, does the group have any real authority? But as long as they stay within the confines of the law.
That's the problem. That should not be legal. If the confines of the law allow you to terrorize people and mess people's lives up and scare their kids and come to their town for no reason other than to intimidate and scare them, and that you hate them. If you hate them, don't come to their town. Stay away from their town. Why would you come to their town if you hate them? They're not coming to your town. And why wouldn't that be illegal? Why wouldn't a police department say, well, you know what? I'm the chief of police, and I guess you're going to have to prosecute me, mayor or DA, but I'm calling for some black people to come in and see what's going on here. I am directing my police officers to get those people out of here when those white supremacist neo-Nazis show up in my town. And if somebody says me escorting them out of town, forcing them away from my town, or even arresting them is illegal, then I just got to accept that criminal conviction and some jail time. Because I wouldn't allow the citizens in my community to be done like that when I know my job is to protect them. And if I'm in front of a judge, that would be my only fight. And my only plea for myself is that I was here to protect my people. And in order to protect them, I had to get that unknown element removed. I don't know if those guys were going to use the guns or the arms that they had with them. If they had arms, what kind of arms, what their intentions were. This was nothing that no one from my city sat down and talked to these people about. They just showed up and started threatening and menacing my folks. People in my town are afraid, and if they express to me that they're afraid, then I have to do something about it to return them back to a calm state. I cannot allow them to be threatened in their own home. That ain't happening.
They should be okay.
It's a great question. You know, I asked that basically, are you stopping cars when they come in because you think someone looks suspicious? Is that, you know, profiling in its own sort of way? And they said, no. We are patently aware of what our rights are and what our limitations are. They said, we're not officers. What we do is we are trying to cooperate with the police department. So if we see suspicious activity, because remember the KKK came back with flyers just after this rally. So they're saying this.
So they got hit twice. First, the neo-Nazis come, and then after they leave, the KKK come twice to this. So what is going on in this town that is causing this kind of response from these white supremacist groups? And why ain't no black people down there? Where's Al Sharpton? I know he off on, no, he work weekends. Well, he off during the week. He need to fly down there and speak on this and get that little fake crowd of people behind him, because this is the kind of stuff that could get us to understand that they not playing with us, you guys. And yes, America is inherently a racist country. If anybody tells you that it's not, then they are trying to delay this reckoning that is obviously got to happen. They're just trying to push it down the road, and hopefully we can deal with it on an intellectual level where it doesn't have to come down to the basics and what we know is violence and threatening. Look at these guys in 2025 rolling up in militia and trying to, that's the only most basic thing you can do. Instead of, if you have a problem with the black people, let us know what the problem is. What is it about? Are you mad because we don't pick your fruit no more, or have to clean your house for free? I mean, what would make you mad at black people? I have no understanding of that.
Is more of a defensive posture to deter people from entering our community and showing them, by virtue of our masks, by virtue of our guns, that you can't come here and we're not going to take this punchline down.
Yeah, but if something happened, the black guys have more to lose than the visitors, because the police are looking at the community and not looking at and that is a very terrible thing. And I think that's a point she missed, is that you're giving not even equal footing in that confrontation. You're giving the upper hand to the unknown entity. And that would be those white supremacists who should have been looked at a little more thoroughly, and not just allowed to do what they did. And then when they got ready to leave, left. God damn, I wouldn't want to live in that city. The police department must be horrible. Also, It's a predominantly black city. I think about 3,000 people or something like that. I would like to know the makeup of the police department. Is it an old white sheriff or a whole bunch of white cop officers and they're policing the black community? Because if they are, that would explain why they acted the way they did, which is strength to my argument as to why police departments should be the racial makeup of the community. If it's a bunch of Hispanics in that community, it should be a bunch of Hispanic cops. Blacks, black cops. Whites, white cops. It would basically lay off so many, those would be some serious layoffs there. Most of the white police in the country wouldn't have jobs because they would be replaced with people who look like the folks they're policing, and the killings would go down. All kind of other stuff would go down. It would take a minute to flush that mentality out of there, because a lot of it is just white supremacy, no matter who's applying it. You know, black people even are guilty of that shit, I must say, unfortunately. But yeah, man, we need to get these folks straightened out where they don't have the run of the country. I know the country was built for them. We know they came and took a whole damn, I mean, can you imagine? And the poor, basically defenseless Indians compared to the arms and the technology you guys came over here with, learning how to kill people in masses, just terrible stuff. And then the slaves, and then here we are, and still suffering and having it aimed at us, and having the law enforcement show up and not inherently take the side of the community. And if anybody could change all that stuff around to the opposite, and a police department show up in a white community, and that goddamn it, there's no way it happened. No way.
All right, important story, fascinating. NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford. Morgan, thank you. Good to see you.
And that was a good story, but it's an unfortunate, not ending, because it's not ended. It's an unfortunate response, because the ending is there. The DA ain't going to come up with no laws that were broken. The police department should be trained on enough information. They detain black people all the time over this country when they shouldn't be. Hey, what are you doing sitting in that car? Eating a chicken sandwich? What are you doing there? If you can't sit in your car in a grocery store parking lot and eat a chicken sandwich without the police messing with you, you shouldn't be able to roll up on a town in a white van with a bunch of white guys dressed in black clothes with their face covered. And I don't know. It's scary to know that we're just cruising down the road and not very much is changing, but yet the language and the speakers that we have out there in front of us who twist words and tell us things like, oh no, America is inherently racist country. Oh no, America, it is. It just is. And we must all accept it and fight appropriately. Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. I appreciate the support, and we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.